Welcome to Relax Time Radio, broadcast nightly from 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. on FM 98 MHz, Radio Thailand Chiangmai. Under the project of the Government Public Relations Department, Office of the Prime Minister, Thailand.
The tourist attractions in Thailand are very unique and so attractive. They are still waiting you to visit.
Are you ready to take the new normal trip around Thailand?
These are our recommendations. First, it is advisable that you should get vaccination against COVID-19.
Second, always check into Thai China wherever you go.
Third, wearing a proper face mask all the time.
Fourth, keeping at least 1 meter distance away from other people.
Fifth, washing your hands very often with soap or hand sanitizer gels.
6. Going cashless and make payment by using online payment.
Very good evening, all listeners. Welcome to Relax Time Radio with me, Tom Takrit Krasasuk, as your host for this evening. And tonight is Monday, the 16th of January 2023. Relax Time is here broadcasting every evening from 8:30 p.m. up until 10 p.m. We have different night, different hosts, and of course every Monday evening like this, half an hour before our regular shows or before continue with the regular shows from 8:30 up until 8:30 p.m. up until 9 p.m. there will be a special sections called New Chapter of Thailand, but this time is season 2 already, which means that last year we have been talking a lot in terms of the investment and the general policy of Thailand, but this season we're gonna discuss more about on the specific one like the BCG model, which has been sharing over the last month, and focus a little bit when one of the when called B and C and G is actually all related to this subject, which is the energy. So tonight I have the Thailand's Energy Transitions 2023 Outlook from the Chandler MHM Limited. This is one of the leading companies for analysis too. And we have been talking in various subjects like the market overviews, how is it like, the electricity generation, hydrogen, how about it, and transportation sector, industry, environment, looking ahead, and authorities. So there's so many things, and of course the global energy transitions like fossil fuel are being replaced by renewable and carbonate free fuel, and the world's primary sources of energy, this major driver of energy transitions, have been arrival from global climate change. We have to admit that one thing that is created a lot, and this is one of the great side effects. And urgent action is needed in order to stave off the most effect on the climate change. And so there are so many options that they make it trying to viable. So that we would also use the technology which is they call a climate tech in order to control on this. And for Thailand can fairly be said that this is the one of the early stage of this transition, and the country itself, I say that they have ready roughly about 70% of electricity generation, though this percentage is falling. There are a few electric vehicles driving Thai's roads at the meantime, and the government has ambitions to become the global leader in terms of the carbon price in these sectors, and the carbon pricings and hydrogen productions are on the government's radar. So both which and should not have or initial any a lot of this what they call thing that will be affecting this or consume a lot of natural energy. So let's move on to the first. Let's see. I will talk in 3 subjects about the market overview itself, and also the electricity generations, and maybe these two first before, if we have some more time, or time will permit us, maybe I can touch a little bit of the hydrogen, which is going to be a future energies or not. Let's take a break and we'll come back with you shortly and talking about the market overview of the Thailand's energy transitions in 2023. You're now on special sections, new chapter of Thailand on FM 98 MHz, Radio Thailand Chiangmai. You're listening to Relax Time Radio with me, Tam Thakrit Krasasuk, FM 98 MHz, Radio Thailand Chiangmai. Welcome back to Relax Time Radio with me, Tam Thakrit Krasasuk, for the market overview of the Thailand's energy transitions in 2023 that provided by the Chandler. Around the world, major transformations currently taking place in, I would say, all segments of the energy sectors, and of course it's affected Thailand too for this matters. So Thailand has continued to present or rely heavily on fossil fuels, though this role of renewable, including import hydropower, occupies by an increasingly and expanding segments of Thailand's energy mix. So there are three of them that I'd like to touch base to. The first one is petroleum, and second one is electricity generations, and third one is hydrogen, if we have the time permit. Unless otherwise we'll have to make a new EP for this, but I'm sure that will be needed because there are quite many number of interesting informations to share with you here. And of course, for the first one, for the market overview, they mentioned that with the effect to this, the petroleum, electricity generations, and also hydrogen are one of the keys for surviving. And as of July 2022, Thailand has installed grid capacity approximately about 48.57 gigawatt. This does not include very small power producers and also defined as power projects which an installed capacity not exceeding 10 megawatts. This is not include them or exclude them. And generating capacity is also exclusive of so-called behind the meter distributed generations, such as power supplies from natural gas fired cogeneration plants on industrial estate or rooftop solar installations. These are excluded. And of course, the other one as the date of report of the Chandler. They have made a report in December roughly, and what they mentioned that there's still peak demand for electricity in 2022 is 32,255 megawatts. And also there also appears that the Thai grid significant excess capacity. Should be noted that the most recent version of the power development plan contemplate the retirements and decommissioning of 25,310 megawatts of existing installed capacity by 2037. The energy transitions and economic developments generally will entail that Thailand electricity consumptions will continue to grow in the coming years, which additional capacity will need to be added to grid. Indeed, currently emissions will be about 56,431. That is really another from 32,255, which is quite a lot too. But in terms of the development, is understandable. Okay, and for the petroleum itself, we can see this the petroleum. I'm just looking in the chart, but the color is not so clear. But anyway, it's mentioned that Thailand is actually the net importers of both crude oils and also refined oil products. And part of those is natural gas is source of both domestically and through import. What we do now is we simply import this natural gas from our neighboring country through pipeline from Myanmar as a liquefied natural gas, or we call LNG. Remember this word well because it will be very, very important for all of us in the future. And talking about the petroleum, 3,204 million standard cubic feet per day was consumed in 2021, and total of 1,521 was imported, so it's more than half. And the importance of this is the LNG imports have been steadily increasing since the receiving a terminal at the Maptaput Industrial Port in Rayong, and this has began the operations in 2011. So in 2021, 829 MMSCFD, or million standard cubic feet per day, and the LNG will become a steadily increasing number. The terminal at the Maptaput seaport. And in 2021, also Thailand imported about 846.6 million barrels of oil equivalent per day of the crude oil, alongside 1,163 MBOEPD, or the million barrel of oil equivalent per day. So by comparisons, only 100.7 million barrel of oil equivalent per year of crude oil was produced domestically for local refining. Meanwhile, the economy consumes a total of 852.8 MBOEPD refined as the oil products. So, looking from the graph itself, in September 2022, the Department of Mineral Fuels, or DMF, the Ministry of Energy, accepted that bids are now in the round of offshore exploration and productions block. Presumably, the purpose of this be round that this secure greater amount of indigenous gas in order to promote energy. Then next, for the Chandler, that's in this report of the year 2023 for the Thailand's energy outlook, they said the Ministry of Energy has its various departments and agencies are in charge of setting overall energy policy in Thailand. The main planning activities are carried out by the Energy Policies and Planning Office, whose policy and plans was considered and approved by the National Energy Policies Council. Until recently, Thailand's primary, they have integrated policies document was Integrated Energy Blueprint, or TIEB for a short. Within the TIEB were specific policies and plan relating to each subsector, including the oil plan, the gas plan, and alternative energy development plan. So energy efficiency development plan and PDP. So these plans are intended to be complementary and provide the overall directions of the Thai government's plan within the energy sectors. Talking about the going forward, Thailand will reportedly, by changing the name of its overarching policies and planning documents in the energy sectors to the National Energy Plan. So they will have the NEP, or the National Energy Plans, soon, and the subsector planning documents will reportedly remain unchanged under the NEP. Well, talking about in the history a little bit, in this, the PDP has been the main policies documents related to electricity generations, transmissions, and distributions. So every 3 to 4 years they will update once in a while, and what the current PDP having been adopted by the early 2019 with retroactive effect in 2018. In the last bit on this overall policies and then electricity generations. They said it seems likely that the PDP will update it in 2023. The update to the PDP will be likely reflect the changing of global and domestic landscape, which has been alerted significantly since 2019. The particular note of Thailand is increased effort to decarbonize economy, including adopting more ambitious naturally determined contributions under the Paris Agreement. More of this, the significant drop-off in domestic natural gas production, coupled with the war Ukraine driving up global prices of the LNG, will force policymakers to consider a long-term wisdom for reliance on natural gas and major energy sources. Of course, with the turbulence, we're caught in that world of really a turbulence that we are facing now, and that's why we need to have the updated information and see what will be the futures and how we cope it with the world. Okay, let's take a short break and then we'll come back to hear about the outlook about the electricity generations in Thailand. It's a little bit of information, but I hope you will like it. You're now with me, Tom Thakrit Krasasuk, as your host for this evening on the first section's new chapter of Thailand Season 2 on FM 98 MHz Radio Thailand Chiangmai. You're listening to Relax Time Radio with me, Tom Thakrit Krasasuk, FM 98 MHz Radio Thailand Chiangmai. Welcome back to Relax Time Radio with me, Tom Thakrit Krasasuk, as your host for this evening. You now listen to a special section's new chapter of Thailand Season 2, and tonight we are talking about Thailand's energy transitions that I have sharing by the Chandler MHM Limited. So we're talking about the overall of the energy. Of course, it's also concern of the turbulence, and even though Thailand has more plans toward the electric vehicles, but then still quite a concern on this part too, because it will still take quite some time to reach, and without the corporations it will not be going nowhere. And talking about the electricity generations, from the overview of this is the power sector will play an increasing important roles in facilitating Thailand's energy transitions, and with they have the continued development in economics and increasing electrifications or transportations of other sectors. Much of the activities in Thailand's energy transitions, these will make taking place in the grid too, because they will plan more in the grid. So they will be increased reliance on the LNG or liquid natural gas as domestic gas reserve continue to be depleted. More greenfield renewable energies projects that will be foreseen, and additional power trading with the neighboring countries, and also about the market liberalizations and distribute power generation. So these trends are not always mutually complementary, and adjustments in policies and major changes to the legal and regulatory framework are inevitable in the coming decades. So got to have a very close look on this. And the natural gas outlook remain primarily fuel used in Thailand power sectors. So it's about 53% of the generations in 2022, giving the number of the existing gas-fired power plants, as well as the large industrial users who relies on natural gas and feedstocks, who are manufacturing. It seems likely that natural gas will continue to play an important role in Thailand's energy mix for the foreseeable future. So the LNG is still playing quite a big role in this. However, the domestic gas production declining and limited opportunities build more pipeline to purchase gas from neighboring countries like Myanmar, and also Thailand will need to rely more heavily on LNG imports, such as the natural gas that has been cooled and transformed into liquid form. But the LNG is ready to play a vital role in Thailand's energy market, and it seems by some as having a role play and bridge field in the facilitating of the energy transmissions. Natural gas is the most carbon efficient fossil fuel, emitting only 40% less carbon dioxide than coal and 30% less than the oil itself. So that's also you can see as a future. In 2022, they call this is a challenge year of the LNG purchaser because of the COVID, and they are also afraid of severely limited fuel supplies. So Russia become a key natural gas exporter, reduce supplies to Europe, and almost 80% the increased demands reflected in the price of U.S. export of the LNG. And the war in Ukraine has impacted Thailand also. It is right as the moment when domestic gas production in the Gulf and of Thailand has increased dramatically, then is increased reliance on the LNG imports from other countries too. So in the predominant role of natural gas play in power generations in Thailand and cost of electricity for the Thai consumers, and also expect climbs significantly. The LNG burning and regasification facilities, the importance and sales of the LNG, gas pipeline and gas system, onshore of LNG transportations and gas trading is a secondary market. So this is based on the proposed policies will be include the NEP. There will be many potential opportunities for the LNG players, including but not limited to all of these matters. And in pretty much they are also talking about the competitions of laws. They say that the ERC is the primary government agencies responsible for monitoring and regulating competitions in power sector. At the moment, the merger control regimes that power sector is limited in scope, in need of the updates and account for the increase in private and investment has brought on by the energy transmission in 2023, and it seems likely that the status quo on the competitions law on the power sectors will be upended. So then let's continue about the trends toward the distributed generations. Over the past 5 years, solar electricity developers have been busy installing photovoltaic or PV panels on the rooftop of the private, commercial, and industrial, or they call the CNI for and CNI business. This has been easy sales. Installing solar equipment on the site is often financed by the developers. Rooftop solar generally reduced overall electricity cost and glare caused by the sun shimmering of PV panels that sit atop building shows and occupant screen bona fields. Developers have sought premier projects as they expand their portfolios. Thailand, this generally includes the relatively new factories or stores in suitable physical location with creditworthy occupants. There are also significantly numbers of developers active in rooftop solar sectors, and most financing for development cost, it has been sourced from the shareholders, equity contributors, or corporate lending. So far, this has no standard template of power purchase agreement that is commonly used in Thailand rooftop solar industry, because it was the news or reported, okay, the governments will buy this and it's likely to be, but so far there's still no actual laws or regulations will be accepting and then permitting this to become to be very, very true yet. And they're also talking about the ERC regulations, about the rules and measures relating to monopoly, reductions of competitions, and restriction of competitions. A monopoly reductions or restrictions of competitions under this draft of law notification will cover actions taken succinctly by an energy licensees or operators or jointly with the third party, regardless of whether that third party is under energy licenses. Taken together, these 5 draft notifications, which are the draft that first one talking about the ERC notifications about the rule procedures and conditions on transfer of energy licenses, about the rules and procedures for merge and cross-sharing energy businesses, and also the definitions of market and scope of relevant energy, and also rules on dominant players. They will be discussed a lot and on this draft. So they said that will be greatly increase the role of ERC. Once adopted, the independent power producer will need to assess whether their current structures comply with any requirements relating to the competitions or not. And in order to going forward, it apparently that the ERC intends to play more active roles in scrutinizing M&A transactions in the power sectors. So that's pretty much. Let's take a break and we'll come back to the last bit about the final thought regarding the energy's production or generation of the electricity here in Thailand. And this is taken from the Chandler MHM report for the year 2023. You're now with me, Tom Thakrit Krasasuk, as your host for this evening on the special section, New Chapter of Thailand, Season 2 on FM 98 MHz, Radio Thailand Chiangmai. You're listening to Relax Time Radio with me, Tom Thakrit Krasasuk, FM 98 MHz, Radio Thailand Chiangmai. Welcome back on the last bit of the shows for this section. The first section's New Chapter of Thailand. They talking about the feel and the outlook of the energies in Thailand. Over the past decades, power sector in Thailand has become far more dynamic, and new technologies and business structures disrupting incumbents, and appear set to continue with the further disruptions on the horizon brought by the greater market liberalizations. So the development will be accompanied by the more hands-on role of the ERC and grid operators, which just means that private sectors, and meaning more regulations and greater legal complexities are on the still on horizon, I would say, and well-tailored laws on regulations can be a great facilitator to the energy transitions as they enhance predictability and promote investor confidence. That's pretty much the show for this evening for the first sections of New Chapter of Thailand. In all, this is the outlook, and you can see that the increased number of the consumptions. But when we be able to have the self-contained, I know that there are so many ways we can do, either save them and create them, and exercise with this, and will be a time for us to see that what will be the energies else that we can use. They are talking about the sodium, which can be used as the source of the energy also. So now it depends on the creation, the sci-fi or the information. So it'll be very, very interesting to see more in Thailand. Okay, as your host for this evening on this special news section, New Chapter of Thailand. My name is Tom Thakrit Krasasuk. I have to say goodbye for now, and we'll come back with you shortly after this. Then we'll come back to our regular shows on Relax Time Radio. For now, สวัสดีครับ Under the project of the Government Public Relations Department, Office of the Prime Minister, Thailand.
The tourist attractions in Thailand are very unique and so attractive. They are still waiting you to visit.
Are you ready to take the new normal trip around Thailand?
These are our recommendations. First, it is advisable that you should get vaccination against COVID-19.
Second, always check into Thai Chana wherever you go.
Third, wearing a proper face mask all the time.
Fourth, keeping at least 1 meter distance away from other people.
Fifth, washing your hands very often with soap or hand sanitizer gels.
6. Going cashless and make payment by using online payment.